I'm a bro code breaker at this point in my life. And I think because of what is between my legs, that's what I realize by breaking down the sculpture of life, how it is at this point in the present and in the past too. You know, being made the butt of the joke. And that's really what it was. Like, no matter the aspect of it, whether or not you're in a group of people or in a sibling relationship like I was with my older brother, it didn't matter. Trying to just be part of that, as I was, to be honest. Being part of a paranormal group, being part of a family, being part of friendships. What I recognized was always tried to be part of the dynamic and recognized by the end of it that no matter what, it was always secretive information. It was always having to play second fiddle to somebody else's opinions. And it was always the opinions of the viewpoint of this person who's this gender is always on top. So F off at this point. And that's why I'm a bro code breaker. Like, that's where this comes at Jean Pierre, my older brother, that I'm pretty much breaking it down because I saw the results of what happened. That I actually participated in treating women badly and treating myself badly when in actuality my older brother was doing the same things as I was years before, and I never treated him or humiliated embarrassed him or said things to him in the same way. For example, 2005, when he was dating somebody introduced to by Misty at the time, they went up the mountain together and in Enchanted Forest. We all went up to the white restaurant up there. Long, long climb where pretty much he didn't check on me. Whole thing, pretty much whole family dynamic. Who gives a fuck? But that doesn't matter. The real point is this girl, which I can't remember her name at this point, this woman was pretty much abused, messed up, whole thing, and still dated her, still whole thing, had an abusive past, and went through a lot. And Jean Pierre still dated her, still wanted to go out with her, and culminated to her not wanting to go out with him. What happened later on in 2012 was my older brother said to me, called me stupid for wanting to be with Christina. Whole thing right there. With the first person I dated. So pretty much the hallmark is whatever he's told without my experience being shared, which, I mean, pretty much by that point, I stopped sharing because there's going to be a lot I'm going to go through. That's going to show you why I stopped sharing with Jean Pierre. He pretty much vaulted out that there's no reason to share with him because he doesn't have any identity to who I am and doesn't ask follow up questions. He's not that kind of person. He cares about his ego like this and goes, "Hey, I'm good. I'm great." Just like grandma and mom, we're great. And that's not who I am. Why do you think I stuck around and took care of my grandma and mom? And my older brother didn't. That says it all. I'm not a spitting image of my family. I can definitely say that. None of them. Anyway, back to the story at hand. I was a spitting image because I was a flying boy. I was a flying boy in life until I stopped being that. And I asked follow up questions, and I was pretty much treated like shit for doing that. And treated like I was only doing that because of Jax. No, it's because I actually cared about myself. And I cared about not being the butt the joke with everybody. Back to the story at hand. Pretty much what happened was I remember at the time, Jean Pierre had a friend, Roxanne, who had big breasts, and I would call them baboom booms. Jean Pierre would laugh, have jokes with it, with me and the whole thing. And I realized, no, man, Look at me, how misogynistic I was. What a fucking joke. What a joke I am to treat and humiliate myself and to treat everybody else like that. Like, that's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. And that's not me on the regular. That's not me going out every day doing that. So the reality is, around them, that's my bias. I want to be included. I want to be included. That's literally why I did things. That's fucking it. Because outside of them, I didn't do it. Outside of them, I didn't do it. Move on from there. Going on to the relationships that he did have after that with Famika, who's black, ended up coming over to see family, and grandma said, "Oh, have her over only at night because nobody will see her." And the disrespect was just that sentence, and pretty much still dated her, still the whole thing, and telling me things that I didn't ask about when all I asked was, "Hey, how'd the date go? How'd the date go?" For example, which is all I asked. Never asked personal information, and he would just say, "Oh yeah, we did it for 8 hours straight, blah blah blah." And it's like, whoa, again, going with the ego trip. I didn't ask those questions. Didn't ask. Like they say in gym, you didn't ask. you know. Anyway, go on from there. Pretty much, he goes to his ego, just like grandma, just like mom. Same thing. Next, and so from there came Lonnie, another person who had been abused in their past, and I realized from that it was sad to see that too, because it was sad to see that another person had been abused in a past relationship and was always talked about and didn't work out in that either in the home. And they'd been over, they just had sex. That's the whole thing when they were in the back room, and that's all he talked about with me. And I was like, okay, stop sharing information. At a certain point, I was just like, stop. I don't want to. I don't want to hear this. That's it. Like I'm only interested in working at school and working at school at that point. Like that's all I cared about. So when he started dating Danielle, I think at one point he asked me about how the relationship was, if it should continue, and that was just about dating at that point. I said, well, of course you can start dating, well, why not? And then later on, I think maybe after I'd been touched inappropriately on campus, um, in 2007, at one point during that exact time it happened, which is why I didn't bring it up to them. My family, um, I talked to the student affairs person first at Long Beach City College, and the lady just said a Bible verse to me. What a joke. Didn't protect me, just pretty much said a Bible verse. I was like, oh, great, thanks for protecting me. 6 months later, my brother asks me, should I bring up my past relationships and, having sex and the whole thing? I said, yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, you don't need to go into all the details and everything like that because, I mean, I'm disgusted by it myself. So don't bring it up in detail like that. I'm already disgusted myself just knowing it. Next, shuts me down, whole thing, and pretty much just shows like I have the ego. I don't need to hear from you. Friend next to us that comes with us is Eddie, knows less than anything and knows us less time, believes him more, and says keep the information to self. Goes with the bro code right there. And the thing is, I realize and recognize now that I stuck with that for over I don't know how many years because that was 2007. And I recognize now how much like that hurt myself because it was an idea of like, hey, bring advice out, bring all this information out, yet at the end of the day, you don't give a damn about me. You're not an older sibling, you're not a family member, you're not a friend. You're not anybody to me. Like that's his mind speaking to me right there. Like you don't give a damn about me whatsoever. Like I could be a piece of gum on the street and all you do is say, "Man, why did it go on my shoe? Why did it go on my shoe today of all days?"